Good afternoon, students. I, Amruta Menkudare, Assistant Professor, Navasayadri Institute of Pharmacy, Naigaon, Pune, today going to conduct a lecture on equipments and raw materials. So, before going to the point, equipment and raw material, first of all, we should understand the definition of the equipment. Equipment may be defined as any piece of a plant, machinery, instrument, etc., which is used for carrying out a specific activity or operation. Example is a mixer, granulator, dryer, etc. Means equipment may be a single piece or it may be many pieces when come together to perform different functions. Okay, so it may be a single piece or it may be the many pieces coming in a one single form to perform different operations. Okay, equipment may be single piece or it may consist of many integrated pieces to perform a single activity. Example is a water purification plant. Good performance of equipment is a vital requirement of a industry, and hence there are some guidelines regarding regulatory requirements of the equipments. Okay, so we have to see the guidelines of the equipment. We have to see that how we should do the selection of the equipment. So selection of equipment should be done according to the following parameters. First thing that we should see while selecting the equipment, that is the design of the equipment. Design of the equipment should meet our requirements for which we are selecting the equipments. Means what purpose, for performing what thing we are using that equipment. Depending on that, we have to select the equipment. For this purpose, user requirement specification should be prepared. So user requirement specification, or USR, we can also call it as user specification record, is the document which is prepared by industry and which consists of different parameters, information related to different parameters, such as first is what operation you want to perform by using this equipment. Means we want to use this equipment for mixing, for drying, for granulating, or for compressing the tablet or punching the tablet. Means depending upon the function, for what purpose we are using, we have to mention that into the user specification record. Second, type of a material which we want to use and compatibility of material of construction of the equipment with material to be used. So for compatibility purpose, we have to select, we have to see the type of a material used for manufacturing or construction of that equipment, as well as the material which we want to handle, operate in that equipment. Okay, next, method of cleaning of the equipment and any problem faced during validation of cleaning process. Next, information regarding providing the training facilities for operators to operate the equipment. Exact time for starting and stopping of the equipment. If equipment is not maintained, then will it cause contamination of the product? What is the level of the technology used? So according to all this point, we have to prepare the user specification record, and we should purchase the equipment which follows all these parameters, which satisfied all these parameters, and which is easy to operate, easy to clean, easy to maintain, and incorporate in all these parameters should be incorporated in that equipment. Second point that we should see while selection of the equipment is the size of the equipment. It is decided on the volume of a material which we are going to handle. Okay, means if our industry is a large scale industry, then obviously we should buy a large equipment. If it is a small scale industry, we should buy the small instrument. Okay, so thus it is directly related with the batch size which we are going to manufacture in our industry. And following parameters should be considered while selecting the size of the equipment. First is the physical dimension of the machinery, that is height, length, width of the equipment. Second, size of a room where we want to install that equipment. Okay, means if there is a small room for the installation of that equipment, then obviously we should buy the small equipment. If there is a large space available for installation, then we should buy for the large equipment. Okay, then path of transportation of the machine into installation room. If a very small space is available for transportation, for passing that equipment into the installation room, then we should construct that equipment after carrying into that room. Otherwise we should take the small equipment. And minimum and maximum volume of material which we want to handle in that equipment. So depending on that, we have to select the size of the equipment. Next is the location. The location of equipment in the plant is depending on the logical process movement. Means logical process movement means, example, if we want to prepare the tablet, then logical process is that first of all we should dry mix the ingredient. Next we should sieve that ingredients. Next we should prepare a wet mask Okay, after that we should prepare the granules, then we should dry that granules, then we should compress the tablet, then we should check the hardness, check the dissolution, disintegration. So this is the process that we are going to follow, and accordingly we should place the equipment, that is mixer should be present in the first point. After that we should place the granulator. After that we should place the sieves for size separation, we should place the hot air oven, then we should place the tablet compression machine, then dissolution machine, disintegration machine. So depending upon the logical process, depending upon the procedure whatever we are going to carry on, we should locate the equipment. Okay, cross contamination and mix up should also be taken in consideration while selecting the location of the equipment. And other factors affecting the location of equipment are utility services required, that is energy source, light source, or water supply. Okay, so depending means whatever utilities are required, depending on that availability of that utilities, we should select the location. Next, material handling and movement of the material, movement for processing and cleaning, main movement for repair and maintenance, and gases, fumes, powder discharging equipments. Okay, so depending upon all these points, we should select the location of the equipment. Next is the construction. Equipment should be constructed by considering following parameters. First is it should be easy for cleaning of the equipment in surrounding area, easy of operation of the equipment, easy maintenance, and material of construction should be compatible with the material which we are going to handle in that equipment. Okay, so by seeing all these points, we should select the equipment. And last one is the documents required, means while purchasing or while selecting the equipment, we should see that whether equipment manuals are present or not, whether equipment layout, certificate of material of construction, and equipment validation report, that is accuracy of that equipment is checked or not. Okay, so all these documents should be checked, and if it is okay, then we should go for selecting that equipment. Okay, after selection of the equipment, next point is the purchase specification for the equipment, means after selecting, if we want to purchase that equipment, what points we should consider. First is the adequate operating criteria for the process, that is size, speed and effectiveness. Second, availability of spare parts and services, means we should see that whether the spare parts are available or not, servicing is available or not, and if yes, then only we have to go for purchasing that equipment. Next, the equipment should be clean and easy to clean and maintain. There should be no any kind of environmental issues or pollution caused by that equipment. Construction of material should be compatible with the active pharmaceutical ingredient whatever we are going to handle in that equipment. There should be availability of a process control, like availability of weight adjustment knob in case of tablet compression machine, availability of temperature knob for oven. Okay, like this. Next, the cost of the equipment should be cheap. Availability of SOP, design and maintenance manual from supplier required for handling, operating, validating and qualification of the equipment. Okay, so all these points we have to see, and accordingly if it is found okay, then we have to purchase that equipment. Okay, after purchasing it is necessary to maintain that equipment. Okay, so maintenance should be done regularly so as to avoid the malfunction of the equipment and thus to avoid the processing problems. Maintenance of the equipment is done according to the SOP, and the following points should be mentioned into the SOP. First is the maintenance schedule, means frequency of validation, calibration and maintenance, means for how many times in a day, on what day, which disinfectant should be used for cleaning, which oils should be used for greasing of that equipment. Okay, so all whatever regarding the maintenance of that equipment, that is schedule, should be mentioned into the SOP. Second, assignment of the responsibility for maintenance of the equipment. Okay, the cleaning or maintenance responsibility should be assigned to a person. Okay, next, detailed procedure used for maintenance of the equipment should be mentioned into the SOP. Protection of the equipment should be done. Okay, so like it should be covered. If the sensitive equipments are there, such as UV, IR, NMR, they should be placed into the air conditioned foreign particle restricted room. Then inspection of the equipment before use should be done. So all these points should be done for the maintenance of the equipment. Then maintenance of the equipment is done by the 4 methods. First is the breakdown maintenance. second is corrective maintenance, third is maintenance prevention, and fourth is preventive maintenance. So these are four different types of maintenance depending on the time when we are taking care of that equipment. Okay, first is the breakdown maintenance, means here actually the equipment is stopped working. Okay, it actually stops working and it creates a problem during processing, and that last point we are changing the parts of that equipment, or we are totally replacing the new equipment, and thus it is very costly type of a maintenance procedure, and it is called as a breakdown maintenance. Next is the corrective maintenance. Here the equipment shows some error during processing. Okay, means actually it does not stop working, but it produces some kind of error. Example, in case of a tablet compression machine, there are the capping and the lamination of the tablets occur. Okay, cracks are produced onto the tablet, uniform texture tablets are not obtained. Okay, that indicates that punches are defective. So in that case what we do, we replace the punches and we continue our process. Okay, such kind of a maintenance is called as a corrective maintenance. Next is the maintenance prevention. Here in such a way that USR is prepared, that is user specification record is prepared, and accordingly the equipment is constructed and it is purchased, so that there is no need of the further maintenance of that equipment. Such kind of a maintenance is called as a maintenance prevention. And last is the preventive maintenance. This is the fourth method of the maintenance and is done to prevent the maintenance in the future. Okay, so there are two types of a preventive maintenance, such as first one is the periodic maintenance and second one is the predictive maintenance. Periodic maintenance means here the periodically after some time interval the maintenance of the equipment is done. Okay, it is checked at a regular time interval, and accordingly the oiling, greasing, changing the parts of that equipment, those which are defective, this is done so that there is no maintenance will occur in the future. Okay, such kind of a maintenance is called as a periodic maintenance. And predictive maintenance means here the error caused in the future is predicted, means it is first of all judged that after this much days this particular part is going to be inoperative, so we have to change it, or we have to do the oiling and greasing. Okay, so the error caused in the future is predicted and accordingly the corrective action is taken. Such type of a maintenance is called as the predictive maintenance. So these are the four main types of the maintenance of the equipment. After this, next point is the raw material. Raw material is any starting material used in the manufacturing of the finished product. It may be active ingredient or it may be the any excipient. Purchase specification of a raw material means while purchasing the raw material, what we should check, what we should consider. First is the cost of the raw material. Second is the identity, purity and quality of the raw material. Raw material should be pure, easily identifiable, of good quality. Then only we have to go for purchasing that raw material. Next, vendor selection. The name of the vendor should be mentioned in the company vendor approval list, and raw material should be purchased from the certified vendor only. Okay, we should not purchase it from any regular vendor. We should check it, purchase it from the vendor, a person whose name is approved in the vendor approval list. Okay, only from such person we have to, or from certified vendor we have to purchase the raw material. While purchasing the raw material, the following things should be checked, that is the name of the product or material, batch number, date of manufacture expiry date, quality received, and number of containers and packages, conditions of the container and material, storage condition, that is storage conditions such as store in low temperature, in humid environment, away from the sunlight, etc. should be mentioned onto the cover of the raw material. Next is the label of the raw material should contain following parameters, that is name of product, code number of product, batch number of product, melting point or boiling point of product, storage condition, molecular weight of product, expiry date of product, handling precaution of the product, etc. Instructions required during sampling of the product, and retest date of the product and its frequency of the testing. So all these parameters should be mentioned onto the raw material. They should be checked whether they are okay or not, and accordingly we have to go for purchasing of that raw material. There are different steps involved in the purchasing of the raw material. First is the recognition of the need and receipt of the requisition. Means, example, if I have a company and I need paracetamol for manufacturing of the tablets, active ingredient is paracetamol, and I have a very so much stock of a paracetamol in my store. Okay, then also if I want to buy there is a vendor and he is forcing me to take the paracetamol, then should I buy the paracetamol? No. I should first of all recognize that if it is needed or not, if anybody have done requisition to me regarding the paracetamol or not, and if the suitable amount of paracetamol is available with me, then I should not go for buying or purchasing that raw material. Okay, if I need it, then only I should go for purchasing the raw material. Okay, then after that, after seeing the need, after seeing the requisition, I should go for selecting the supplier. For selecting the supplier, what I should do, first of all I should give the inviting quotation to all the suppliers. Okay, means in that I should mention that tell me your price of the paracetamol, quality, purity of the paracetamol, what other facilities you will provide to me along with the paracetamol. Okay, so that I will ask them. After that, receipt and analysis of the quotation, means after receiving the quotation I should analyze all the quotations, and in that I should decide from whom I should buy that paracetamol. Okay, I should select the best supplier, that is the supplier who gives me the paracetamol in less price and of good quality, good purity. Then accordingly I should place the purchase order to him. Then according to that purchase order, he packs the paracetamol or any other raw material and send it to me. Then I should receive that material. After receiving, I should inspect that material, that whether all the data is mentioned correctly on its label, whether whatever he have sent it is of a good quality or not, in good correct amount or not, that I should inspect. After checking the product, checking the raw material, I should check the invoice, that is the challan, that is the bill of that particular order, and all the records of that bill should be maintained. And lastly, the payment should be released to the supplier. Okay, so these are the steps involved in the purchase of the raw material. Last point is the maintenance of the store for the raw material. Storage area. Capacity of the storage area should be suitable according to the quantity of raw material to be stored. There should be separate space for storage of in-process product, raw material and finished product. There should be separate space for storage of recalled, rejected and retained products. There should be separate area for sampling. Should be appropriately designed and well equipped separate area for reception of the raw material. There should be separate area for storage of narcotics, psychotropic, hormones, steroids, hazardous substances, etc. so as to avoid the contamination of the other products. There should be separate area for clean, dry and hygienic and maintained in the environmental limit. Okay, so these are the points related with the storage area for the maintenance of the raw material. Next is storage condition of a raw material, means the raw materials should be stored according to their storage condition. For general products, storage condition required is temperature 30 degrees Celsius and 16% relative humidity. For products requiring AC condition, temperature required is 25 plus minus 2 degrees Celsius and 45 to 55% relative humidity. For products requiring cool temperature required is 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. For light sensitive drugs, amber color containers are required. Okay, so means to maintain the stability of the product, maintain the stability of the raw material, they should be kept in a separate area and at the required storage condition. And last one is the labeling of the raw material in the storage area. The labeling should be turned on to the raw material so as to avoid the mixing of the raw material. First is the name of the product, code number of the product, batch number given by the supplier, expiry date of the product, retest date of the product, and handling procedure and safety precautions, whatever should be taken while handling that raw material. So this is all about the maintenance of the raw material. In this lecture we have completed with the equipment and the raw material as per PCI syllabus semester 6. Thank you.